Hi, this is James Gordon Arturo here with the final book review in the Doom series. I'm glad to be done with this series as it has been a huge letdown. Now, originally I was going to do just one book review on Worlds on Fire, but because of time constraint, because October is just the next day, so I want the series to be done with, and I don't want to interfere with my October tear, which I'll be starting right away after the series. So I decided to do so today. Instead of one book review, I'm gonna do two book reviews in today's video. So the two books I'll be reviewing today: Doom 3, Worlds on Fire, and Maelstorm. These were both. These are. Oh yeah. Okay, these are both published from Pocket Star Books. Written. And this one's from 2008. This one's from 2009, and they're both written by Matthew Costello, who actually wrote the screenplay for Doom 3, for the Doom 3 video game. As I said, these two books have been a huge letdown. I was very disappointed. Worlds on Fire gets off to a great start, but then towards the end, it's a huge letdown. And then Maelstorm is just a complete disappointment. I was like, what? Where is this going? Like it is completely gone off the rails of what Doom 3 is, and so many changes around with characters, scenes, and just the ending felt really rushed, like just trying to cram everything in as possible and all these other subplots. It was just terrible. This was not a good series at all. I was actually hoping this would be a lot better than those other Doom books. But these two were just a huge letdown. While they're somewhat better written, they're just not that good, unfortunately. All right, so I will review both these books and state why I didn't like them, along with other problems I had with them. Alright, on to the review. Worlds on Fire. Plot. In the year of 2144, Lieutenant John Kane is leading a squad of UAC Marines into the city to aid the rebels against the Republic of Tarikstan during an oil crisis. Just as Kane reaches the city, he receives from command to abort the mission. Kane refuses, knowing that Tarikstan forces will slaughter both the rebels and anyone else caught in the crossfire. He orders his squad into the city to fight off the Tarikstan forces. Meanwhile, on Mars, Ian Keller, a scientist for the Delta Labs, is exploring the ruins of Site 3 with UAC lawyer Elliot Swan, his bodyguard John Campbell, and Gerald Hayden. While looking around, Hayden is explaining what the UAC has found in the ruins, believing they discovered an ancient civilization that lived on Mars millions of years ago. While Swan is interested in these findings, he wants to know more about Dr. Malcolm Matruger portal test, along with experiments going on in the Delta Labs, which is all being kept secret, and refuses to share any information with him or the board, causing tension between the two, along with rumors that Dr. Matruger is performing illegal experiments against the UAC. Kane leads his squad into the city and is blacked out from command as they refuse to assist him or allow him to use a 3D map, blinding Kane and his squad, not knowing where the enemy is or hiding. With no choice, Kane orders his men out of their armored APCs and into the city streets as they engage with Russian tanks and snipers. Kane goes into a nearby building to clear out snipers, with one of his men getting his head blown off. Using a plasma gun and hand grenades, Kane clears a path through the enemy forces while his men are able to take out the rest of the snipers and enemy tanks. After escaping the city of Tarikstan, Kane and his men are picked up in battle choppers. However, Kane is arrested for disobeying orders and engaging in combat without approval from command, and will be taken back to military base for a court hearing. Back on Mars, Dr. Keller shows some disturbing footage of Swan, Campbell, and Hayden of the portal test with animals and humans, which ends badly for the test subjects as they eat their own body or violently attack others and are forced to be put down as they go on insane. These are the dark secrets that Dr. Bertruger is hiding from the board, knowing they'll shut down the portal project if they get wind of this. However, Swan won't stop Dr. Bertruger's test, since the UAC needs Delta Labs ready along with the rest of Mars City. Swan's got an insider who will keep him updated. He also wants Dr. Keller to keep quiet about this and to pass information to Swan if things get out of hand. However, Dr. Keller fears things are only going to get worse. In 2145, Kane is released from his prison cell after being stripped of his rank in the Marines, and is given a deal by the court since they want to avoid a trial after the Tarikstan War. Kane is given the choice to leave Earth and become part of the Space Marines while working on Mars City, or face execution. His lawyer states the choice is up to him, but believes the second choice is what he needs. Kane accepts the deal, gets his stuff from his cell, and onto a transport ship Dockstar going to Mars. Also leaving Earth for Mars is Campbell and Swan. Once Kane reaches Mars, he and the other Marines are greeted by Master Sergeant Kelly as he has the new recruits team up with other Marines to show them the way around Mars City along with their duty will be. Kane is partnered up with Marie Moroto and is taken to the armory given his sidearm along with spare magazines. After a tour of Mars City along with watching all the briefings videos on his PDA, Kane is told by Marie that he'll be starting his first patrol shift tomorrow. While eating at the cafeteria, he's joined by Smitty, a young Marine he met while on the Dock Star. Kane begins a friendship with Smitty while Marie is starting to take a liking to Kane. The next day, while patrolling with Smitty, Kane is called by Kelly to find a scientist, Jonathan, who's gone missing near the old comm center. Kelly has Kane go alone as Smitty stays behind with the other Marines. When Kane finds the missing Jonathan, he is in the middle of sending a distress call to Delta Labs warning them to abort the portal test. But it's too late. Dr. Petruger activates the portal test, which Swan is watching, but to his horror isn't sending the test subject to another part through Delta Labs, but opens a portal causing demons to enter begin attacking everyone. When this happens, a shockwave ripples through Mars City, causing most of the guards, Marines, and anyone else to turn into mindless zombies hell-bent on killing anyone who's still human. Kane is forced to kill Jonathan with his pistol and pumps a few rounds into him. Kane tries contacting Kelly but is unable to reach him as he only hears static, gunfire, and screams as Kane goes to try to regroup with Kelly in the administration. But along the way, Kane is greeted by many citizens of Mars City turned into zombies along with demons. Worlds on Fire was a decent tie-in to Doom 3. While not following much of the plot of Doom 3, it still stays close as possible to the game with some references. Very well written and detailed in both scenery, character description, along with good pacing as there wasn't a dull or rushed moment. While the beginning of Worlds on Fire gets off to a good start, along with the second act becoming more interesting as the story follows different characters throughout Mars City. However, the third and final act is a letdown. Not much happens once the portal to hell is open and everything is quickly wrapped up. I also felt the Terroristan War could have been cut out and mentioned later on in the novel and should have focused more on the demon outbreak. Maybe the sequel Maelstorm make this up. Alright, on to Maelstorm next. Plot. Continuing after the events of Worlds on Fire, Kane is in charge of securing the area of Mars City while having Marines patrol the area for any hostile threats and search for any survivors. While walking down a corridor, Kane spots a young boy who runs into an air vent. He is then contacted by Marie, who is patrolling near the Alpha Labs area. While talking with Marie, she tells Kane that Kelly is ordering to secure and patrol the area. Kane finds it odd that Kelly isn't having his men to try to evacuate Mars City or send a distress call for help. As Kane continues to search for the boy, he is nearly killed by a pinky demon as he nearly rips him to shreds. After pumping enough rounds into its head, Kane leaves the area to restock on ammo and medical supplies. Later on, Kane runs into Marie and two other Marines. After not hearing from Sergeant Kelly, they agree to try and send a distress call for help. They take everything they need and make their way to the monorail to reach Delta Labs. Along the way, Kane, Marie, and the other Marines hear a radio call from a dying Marine that Kelly has been secretly working with Dr. Petruger and he's the one who opened the portal of hell, releasing the demons into Mars City. Marie also reveals the rumors of both civilians and Marines who agreed to take part in the portal test, only to snap a few months later. Meanwhile, Jack Campbell has gone insane, believing a distress call would allow the demons to get a hold of those ships and invade Earth. When he finds Elliot Swan, he forces him to accomplish his mission or be vaporized by his BFG 9000. Kane and other Marines reach Delta Labs and find information about the outbreak along with Dr. Petruger's experiments. Kane goes alone to stop the forces of hell from taking over Mars along with Petruger's plans to rule the world. But he first must find the Soul Cube, the only weapon that can close the portal to end the invasion. However, he has to get through Sergeant Kelly, who has turned into a tank monster after killing both Swan and Campbell. Meanwhile, Marie and the others fight their way through zombies and demons in the Delta Labs to send out a distress call. This was a disappointing novel. I was hoping Maelstorm would make up for the lack of action and horror that wasn't in Worlds on Fire and stick more true to Doom 3's plot, but all my expectations were thrown out the window. The beginning has a terrible prologue of an underwater lab that's set 2 days before the outbreak, which served no purpose to the events of Worlds on Fire. After reading 50 pages to get back to where the first novel left off, but takes a while for the story to get moving. But when it does, all these characters that are loosely based on their Doom 3 characters or aren't part of Doom 3's storyline. My other issue is how far off Maelstorm is with Doom 3's plot. It doesn't feel like the game at all. Towards the second and third act of the novel, the pacing is felt rushed with little detail as it was difficult to understand what was going on or where the story was taking place. Many scenes from the game felt shoehorned in or were heavily changed around to get the pacing moving faster, and the two boss fights of Sergeant Kelly and the Sire Demon felt so cheap. Also, the mastermind behind this whole event, Dr. Betruger, is gone and isn't brought up at the end of the novel. I really disliked how these two novels don't follow the game's storyline and change too much around, making it feel like a terrible adaptation. Overall, I don't recommend Worlds on Fire or Maelstrom. You're better off to play Doom 3 than waste your time with these novels. And that is it for the review today, and as I said, I was really disappointed with both these books. They are completely off for what Doom 3 was, and Doom 3 is personally my favorite game out of the Doom series. And I couldn't believe it. I thought with the actual writer who wrote the screenplay for Doom 3, I thought these are going to be way better than those other 4 books. These are going to stick more true to the game. I don't know whose decision it was to make these changes, id or Matthew Costello, I don't know, but I'm really disappointed. These books were just so... And the reason why I decided to put these 2 reviews together is because Worlds on Fire just abruptly ends just as it's getting better, and I was like, well, I can't recommend this book because it ends abruptly, and I don't know if this book's worth getting or not, if the second book is good or not. So that's why I put these 2 reviews together. And after reading both these books, I do not recommend these books at all. You're just better off to play the games. That's the better choice. Oh man, I couldn't believe the changes that were in this book. Like Worlds on Fire changed a lot around with it. Like in Doom 3, Elliot Swan is the one who decides the distress call is a bad idea, and he's the one that wants to shut it down, and Campbell, his bodyguard, does what he tells him to do. In the books, they changed the whole thing around. Instead, Elliot Swan is this scaredy cat who's afraid of his own shadow and is terrified of what's going on. Well, Campbell was like kind of turned into like a villain. Like he decides that I'm going to do whatever it takes to keep the stress call from being sent out. He's willing to kill anyone that gets in his way, but he doesn't do it. When he finds Kane and the others, I thought, I have a feeling it's going to turn into like a fight where Kane has to fight this guy, but that didn't happen. It was like halfway through, it's like, they often decide, okay, I'm going to actually not do that. I'm going to just have where Kelly and Swan get killed by Sergeant Kelly. It's like, oh man, that was not in the game at all. And while there was a bit of romance in this book with Kane and Marie, I didn't mind that, but I really didn't like what happened to the end of John Kane, because at the end of Doom 3, after he defeats the Sire Demon, he's discovered and he walks with the rescue team. That's how it ends in Doom 3. But in Maelstorm, he loses both his legs. And I'm like, what? It was like the fight the whole fight with the Sire Demon felt so rushed. Then when he's discovered, his legs are gone, yet he's somehow still alive. What the hell is going on? Oh, and I was expecting a lot more references from Doom 3 with these books, especially Super Turbo Tricky Puncher 3. I love that little little mini game within Doom 3 that you can play, and the little funny message you get from your PDA if you get a high score. I was hoping that would be in the book and some other things, but yeah, it didn't have a lot of references to Doom 3, so as I said, avoid these 2 books. You're better off just to play Doom 3, the video game. Alright. That's it for the review today. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I will begin with my next series, October Terror, and I'm going to make... Now, here's the thing. I'm going to make each thing I read a surprise, so after I'm done reading one thing, the next book collection or manga, as I am going to be reading manga, is going to be a surprise, so you won't know what I'll be posting next until I post it. So that's what I'm going to do for throughout October. I'm going to try to pump out as much content as I can and clear out my shelves of horror, because I have a lot of horror and some stuff that needs to be read. So what I'm going to do for this is I'm going to read 3 books, collections, or mangas that I have not read, and then after that I'll do like one reread and then just repeat the process over again. As I said, I got a lot to clear out. Alright. If you enjoyed this video, please like it, share it, and don't forget to subscribe to October Library, the YouTube channel, and the Facebook group of the same name, a place you can post, share, and view fiction. Until then, I'll catch you later.